Hello and welcome to the LARP Noobs. Today we are joined by Sparrow himself, Sam. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
I'm here as
This
well.
is
by the
very
way.
exciting.
Yeah,
Oh
Dave's
yeah,
here.
and Dave,
I'm here.
and Dave. I assume that you're I just yeah. How you got me to start it? You got me to start it. This is what you get. This is the type of quality you get when you ask me to
So
start.
easily forgotten.
No.
Sam,
Buckle
thank
the
you so
fuck
much
up.
for joining us, man. Sam's been playing a character called Sparrow, who's been a big part of mine and Ian's games, our characters' games.
I can only
developed-
apologise.
We've developed quite a firm friendship, I would say, over the time that we've been playing together. But it's also, it's really interesting to see what we believe Sparrow to be, whereas the man Sam playing Sparrow has had to evolve into that. And I'm deeply curious about talking to you through that kind of process. But we'll get to that. But you died.
For me, it feels like that bit from the end of The Last Samurai, where he's like, he says, "Tell me how he died," and then they're like, "I will tell you how he lived."
I will tell
and
you
it's just
how
like,
he lived.
yeah, I'm really up for hearing the full Sparrow canon. Give us
good
the steeped
gracious
lore
me.
way back when, because I think
Let's
that's
talk
probably the
about
place to
character
start.
creation.
If you had to describe where you originally came up with the idea of playing Sparrow and how he kind of evolved,
dear.
what kind of way would you describe that journey?
Now,
question,
it was originally quite guided. I will say that. I was part of a group with many other people. So to go back even further, when I was going to university, I wanted to do two things really badly. I wanted to do D&D and I wanted to do LARP. Both of
Man of
these...
good taste.
Yeah, exactly. Both of these I found out about through the Yog Pod many years ago.
Yeah.
I heard about the LARP stories that they had there, and I was just like, this sounds awesome. I've got to do this. A friend of mine found out about Empire and went, hey, let's all go, we can all do this huge thing and we can all, shoot arrows, beat shit out of each other, it'd be fantastic. And to which we went, yeah, okay, brilliant, you go ahead, because we're terrified. We're terrified. So he went, had a wonderful time, and then the character creation process began. Oh dear.
Right.
Many years ago now, but I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago now that he was actually made.
It's pretty terrifying when you think back to the length, how long ago a lot of this stuff is, especially with the longest dark stuck in the middle of it as well now.
Yeah, it was so long ago. It was in the last site. That's how long ago it was, and for many, they only know Empire as just outside Silverstone. But yeah, Sparrow was originally made to be a battlefield healer. Yeah, that's fucking irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to
That is quite a heel turn.
Well, well, you're also talking to Talus, who does the absolute worst job at healing and keeping people he cares about alive around him. Absolutely atrocious as a healer.
Your track record
yeah.
ain't that smooth, mate. I will
It's
say
not
that.
good. It's not good. I'm gonna lay it straight. That's pretty bad.
He just swans
Pretty
around
much
with his
everyone
bow
I
all
care
the
about.
time.
At this stage, I'm literally like a meme of a person where everyone I care about dies, and I just so it's on your head to know Talus. But
You got the Midas touch only with characters.
The reverse Midas touch. It's like the shitty touch.
Okay, so there's two really things that immediately come to my mind when I think about Sparrow as a character, and where these kind of part of your character when the inception happened is three things actually. 1, the bow. 2, the drum. And 3, the nips on parade. How were all of those part of your character when they were created, or did they come later on?
1 out of 3 of them were there from the very start.
Ian, which one do you think is the one out of the 3?
I mean, that's the bow, right? Surely.
I think also bow. Yeah.
It was the bow, indeed.
Told you he was
I
a man
think
of good taste.
I started with Marksman, Physic, and Chirurgeon.
Yep, that's exactly what I started with as well.
Yeah, that was it. It just kind of went nuts from that. In terms of the other two, Nips Out, that came later in the character development, as did the drumming. Both of which were because I was left unsupervised. I think
I understand.
You're one of the big things that Sparrow's kind of evolved into is the whole element of the songs and stories and the music playing and all that kind of stuff. Was this like? Do you have like is there like a history of music playing going back before this, or is this something that kind of you picked up largely at LARP? Or
I mean, I played guitar. I played guitar since I was very, very young, like 5 or 6 maybe. So I'd been doing that for a while. I tried having lessons, but I couldn't understand lessons, so I didn't learn any sheet music. I didn't learn anything like that, and I just kind of did it my own way. And that helped me massively with learning the drum, because for all intents and purposes, it was literally just beat shit out of it and just do it in time. My partner can attest to the fact that I have a really annoying knack for picking up instruments and just going with it. So that kind of, it made it semi-easy. But
was there like a stage then when you kind of decided you would bring sort of music and instrument stuff into a bigger part of your game? Or was that something that you just saw songs and stories and you decided that you'd kind of try and bring these kind of skills that you had from sort of further in the past into the game?
I think I didn't actually perform a song until about the second year. I didn't even go to songs and stories on my first event. My first event, I had forgotten my sleeping bag. So I spent an awful lot of time just going around everywhere, cold as a motherfucker, because I didn't have that much good kit either. I'd gone for like a gothic Navarri, just everything in black, just, as I could be, as goth as could possibly be.
Crow meets Navarre.
Yeah, pretty much. It was atrocious. Although I will say I was saved by Tim of Darkblade, who was just like, look, here's a coat, a cloak even. You can pay me a little bit. Now, I think I only had 20 quid because I didn't prepare. I had 20 quid. I gave him that, and then I mailed him 40 quid afterwards, and that cloak saved my life. Quite literally. I think it was the September event.
Wow.
Yeah, that sucked an awful lot of balls, but
it's amazing how often when you're talking to new players about their kit, they just talk about aesthetics all the time, and most of my advice is just like, make sure you can be warm when it's really fucking cold, because you're going to be outside at like 11 p.m. and it's sometimes fucking freezing, and you also want to have kit that if it's 35 degrees in the middle of the day that you can survive in, right? Like
I wish. Exactly that.
Exactly
that.
I wish Navarre had more hats.
Yeah, well, you just got to get a bit more hair, and just kind of grow it out a bit.
I'm working on
you
it.
are, bless you.
But Father Time's chasing me. Do you know what I mean? At some point, my hairlines didn't give up, and I'm going to be like,
you're going to like meet in the middle.
Mate, I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? I'm running for it right now. I'm sprinting.
Yeah. You.
I want a goddamn
from sort of playing those first sort of few songs, I mean, you've become like a leader of I don't know, what's like a master of ceremonies, or one of the masters of ceremonies at Songs and Stories. Was that a thing where, as you played more, you kind of were invited into it, or you kind of asked about it? What was the process of taking that journey?
So I think at some point, Gabby or Idwin eventually kind of just realised that I was going to be sticking around for a bit, and I kept asking for her drum.
Sure.
So the more I performed, the more she was like, I've got to go and do something over there for 15 minutes. Do you fancy playing a song and sitting on the seat? And I think after that, it was only after I sat on that seat and went, ooh.
I bet it feels fucking amazing, dude.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
It's hard to underestimate like how like if you've not been to Empire and you've not been to Songs and Stories, like how like core part of the nation and the experience that sort of whole, like that person is really important. Like that, like we would like fight tooth and nail to protect Gabby, right? Like
Oh hell
like,
yeah, hell.
you know what I mean? Like the whole nation would turn up, right?
We shouldn't even bring
It's
it up.
crazy.
We shouldn't even bring that up.
No.
I was talking to her about this, even I should say, and I don't know what she would do. She doesn't know what she would do, but I would know damn well that it would just be like a normal muster, but at 20 times the speed, and we'd just whatever it was, kill it.
Yeah, like
Get
100%.
it back immediately. If memory serves as well, Gabby used to be a frontline fighter.
Yeah.
Until I believe at one point she kind of maybe realised that Songs and Stories was going to be more important, or she gets more game out of it. I'm not too sure. I don't know her specifics, but
I mean, it's a huge thing, right? Like, and Songs and Stories really is like huge.
You can only do a few things at Empire because you can dream of doing all the things, but the reality is focus on the very few things that make you really happy and go and do those things. And I think like non-comming is legit when you just get too busy into other things. It's legit a thing to like. Sure. It almost feels like, oh man, I'm not going to go and enjoy like these giant scale battles. It's just like, well, that's not everyone's entire game, right? Like so yeah, I respect it, especially having gone non-common last time.
We are literally talking to the Omni-Man here, who is literally like leads Songs and Stories, is like extremely active in the battles, extremely charismatic force on the field,
skirmishes,
like, has everything. Like you are non-stop, Sam. I mean, how do you actually go around organizing stuff, or you just literally fire yourself into it? Like it's incredible. You're everywhere all the time.
Oh man, I don't even know. Like, I think only the last event was where I started thinking, shit, I might have overdone it with some of this organisation. Honestly, organising anything, most of the time I will just be somewhere and things will come to me. Like, if someone needs something, they'll be, like, asking, and then I'll redirect them in probably the wrong direction and then carry on my merry way.
'Tis the way.
Honestly, I don't... When I look back on it now, I feel like a retired teacher or like that. You know, I don't know how I dealt with it at the time. And I still don't know how I would do it again if the opportunity arose. This is the thing. This is the Sparrow complex.
I guess it's one of those things of like, I mean, I guess your progression as a player and as a character, they kind of go in hand to a certain extent. The reality is that you, at a certain point, Sparrow became, I imagine, has become a big enough character where, and there's a couple of players who probably, you know, quite a few players who fall into this kind of slot, but your character becomes so big and so like recognizable to other people that people do approach you and do talk to you, and you are a focal point, and that then means that you almost have no choice but to be involved in the game.
Did that ever get to like I'm talking about your relationship with Sparrow as a character now, okay? Like, did Sparrow ever get away from you in the sense of like, is Sparrow too big for Sam? And did you have any doubts about playing Sparrow? And you know what I mean, like.
So Smo, my dear partner, has always described Sparrow as being Sam dialed up to 11.
Oh.
That was a very gradual dialing as well, because I realised that as Sparrow, I could do things that won't have any real life consequences per se. I wouldn't say, that's a bad way of describing it.
No, I know what you're saying though. You can try stuff out, right? As well.
I understand for sure. Yeah.
I can try stuff and it won't really matter too much because they'll see it as a Sparrow thing and not a Sam thing. And with that, as the years kept going by and I started getting cockier and cockier, I started kind of... It almost bled into me. Sparrow bled into Sam, and because of that, Sam gave back to Sparrow more. It was just a reciprocal kind of thing. And it just slowly built up and built up. Like, the main thing that I built up with Sparrow and with Sam was the level of confidence.
Yeah.
If you had asked me on my first event, baps out for like a field of 2,500 people, I would have told you to sod off. Very, very far away as well. But over time, as I got more confident and as stuff started getting much more fun and I get more in depth and into it, like the kit would start to change. Like I'm looking over at it now. This the kilt and the sash and, let's face it, the child's jacket, all of which.
I love it. You have this whole kind of piratey Navarri kind of feel to it, which I really dig. Like
that
with
was
cutlass,
the idea.
It's really nice, right?
That was the idea, mate. Sparrow was just Jack Sparrow, just without the W. That was it. That was the origin story. That was what I wanted to be. I wanted to be this kind of Jack Sparrow with a medieval twist.
I love how thinking about it. That's really funny. I've never put those two characters together. But
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm an idiot. I completely didn't. But I'm like, now you mention it. But the Sparrow I met was more like the Captain Jack Sparrow, who actually has to take responsibility and actually has to do a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like, there's no swaggering off anymore. You're like, okay, archers with me. We're gonna muster at this time and do all this stuff, right? Like, or leading
Captain
a
Jack
fucking.
Sparrow leads daycare.
Yeah, pretty much. Herding cats.
I
like,
had
even
one of. Oh, sorry, Sam. Go on.
I was going to say, even some of the kit that I had were pieces of Jack Sparrow cosplay that I'd had. Like, I used to do Jack Sparrow cosplay, and because of that, I had loads of bits left over when I stopped doing that as much, and I had spares. Like, my Battle War skirt, there are 2 belts on there, both of which are the Jack Sparrow belts. I had a little dangle coming off of one of my belts, which had the some beads that I had left over from the wig and everything like that. So there's little bits subtly hidden within him that are
one thing I'm known for is my perception. Like, nothing gets past me. Like, I don't miss anything around me. I'm really a very perceptive person. So
you've rolled very low with this, haven't you? That's a nat 1 sausage.
A natty
That's
1.
all it is. I'm very good at it. I just natty 1 my way through life, basically.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. I want to tell. Let me tell a Sam story. So. One of the times when one of my favourite times at LARP was when I went to the one of your drum lessons, and I brought my tambourine with me, and kid came along, didn't have a drum or tambourine, gave him a little drum, and we're all having a little drum off, and it was just so wholesome, Sam. The whole thing was like just really, really great. Like, one of my favourite memories from LARP was something as innocuous as just hanging out and learning how to drum. But like, importantly, it wasn't just like everyone bashing away. You let everyone give it a go, right, to add to the kind of stuff. And you could just see this little like everyone building in confidence as the lesson went on. It was fucking dope. Yeah, really fucking cool, Sam.
Literally, that was the idea. Because I had seen the day before when new people were coming into the Songs and Stories circle with their drums, which they had on them. They looked relatively new, and there was this daunting kind of look in their eyes of, this is a lot bigger than I thought, which is the whole point of the lesson plan. I've still got the original over here, actually. And it was just a load of exercises that I'd found, and I didn't know, obviously, any of the theory, because Gabby just underarm tossed it to me and went, here you go, give it a go and see what happens. And I just kind of tried really hard to impart as much knowledge on other people without having to learn any of the theory, without having to do anything like that. Just, it was more about perception, what else is going on around you and all that stuff. And I remember that lesson because it was wonderful. Like, we're all around the Songs and Stories circle. There was like 30 odd people there.
Yeah,
it was pretty
big.
Massive.
Yeah.
It was great. I truly enjoyed the hell out of that. And then the subsequent Songs and Stories was even better because I could see all these people and they were doing the stuff that I had taught them hours ago. And it was just like, yes, this is massive. This is brilliant. And that was another step up for Sparrow's confidence as well as my own confidence. Probably why I kept doing it, or wanting to keep doing it at least.
I think that's when you're talking earlier about the fact that you had the feedback loop of sort of Sparrow's confidence into Sam's confidence and Sparrow's confidence. I think one of the other great things that you as a player have done, and as a human being have done, is you also make that confidence very accessible to other people, and you kind of have always kind of been very good at letting other people kind of take that ride with you and sort of impart those skills, impart that knowledge. Like like in so many different aspects of play, like taking the field in a battle with you, you're actually like, there's been a bunch of times where like you kind of lead a charge, so you'll just like have your bow out and they just draw a sword and like lead a charge, and like it's just infectious because you have this infectious kind of quality to your, it's just natural charisma, right? And then you just kind of, people follow you. Or in Songs and Stories, similar sort of thing. And I feel that there's like, when I was thinking about sort of seeing my first song, it was just like a huge confidence booster just like talking to you about it, right? It's just like it's a very sort of, it's an amazing skill. I'm wondering, is there a stage when you were kind of going through LARP when you kind of realized that not only were you getting more confident, you were getting better at sort of interacting with other people and lifting them up as well?
I think so, but I can't pinpoint when exactly. I guess
it must be like a natural growth, right?
Possibly. I'm not too sure. I think it might have been the event that I brought my own drum, because then I didn't have to borrow Gabby's anymore, and I could just go with it.
You're like a bird leaving the nest.
Oh yes.
All the puns.
Get them all in whilst we still can. God damn. Pretty much, yeah. I was Hulk Hogan leg dropped out of the nest, and it kind of just went from there. I guess I had done what other people had done to me, in the sense of just, this is how I would do it, or give this a go, see what happens, and if you don't like it, fair dues, no worry about it. Just carry on, whatever makes you happy.
That's an interesting question, actually. Are there characters and players who have been like particularly influential to the journey of evolving to like sort of Sparrow becoming the character that you think he is?
I would say it will have to be Idwin.
Yeah.
It will have to be it was Garax, Halwyn, Jamie, massive influence. Like seeing how he basically wrote the brief, and I took a look at that brief and went, let's go over this way instead. Yeah. Very much like the Navarri look and feel, actually. I thought that was quite funny. Just never read it. I think it was those two as main, and Justin, when he was still, when he was still Kiartan, gave me a lot more confidence as well, because he was, what
Kiartan
he's like.
Kiartan's an amazing character. And Justin is an amazing player as well.
I feel that Kiartan's relationship with Justin was very similar to how I built Sparrow with Sam.
Right.
Because, as I say, you know what he's like.
Yeah.
We actually recorded an episode with Justin, but unfortunately it was lost in the technical difficulties and awfulness, and it sucks. But like, it was very interesting talking to him about how we were kind of introduced to Kiartan as he was on this like trajectory, and we didn't see him all the way down here when he's like struggling with confidence and trying to work his way up and trying to build up himself and his place within Navarre and all the rest of it. We caught him as he's like transcending into like godhood, right? Like Kiartan was like an amazing character who inspired like a whole bunch of the entire nation, I would say. And I don't think that's an exaggeration in the slightest. And I think like, man, when we talk about like Sparrow's legacy when it comes to what it is to be a Navarre and Songs and Stories and all the rest of it, like it's fucking big, it's fucking huge. Like people will be singing like songs about you or filks that you wrote or stuff that you subtly changed within the nation for like a long time, even if they don't know your name. It's gonna be fucking amazing. It's like, what a legacy.
That is
what
true.
a fucking legacy.
When you had people come up to you, this was years ago as well, saying, we joined Empire and wanted to do songs and stories because of your music.
Wow.
That was where it hit, I think. That was kind of the, shit, I'm in pretty deep, aren't I? Kind of thing. And I think I'm still riding that high.
Yeah.
But I'm also very, very excited to see what people are going to come. Well, actually, I'm excited and apprehensive about what people are going to do. I've heard a couple of things. I've heard people are going to try Whispers Through the Black Gate, into which is just going to be me sitting in a dark room, picking my nose, going, bit fucking shit in here, innit?
Mate.
There's also talks of making me an exemplar of Pride.
That'd be
Which that's a bit fucking nuts, but I'm all for that. That sounds awesome. But
how does that work? Like, do they all come together?
No idea.
I'm
the dead person here. I feel like my work there is done. I would just... But if that is possible, that sounds fucking great. I've had people come up to me and ask to do my filks, into which I've said yes, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. I think there was a guy who I met in E1. It was his first event. He was like, I really liked Hold Our Line here, but I really want to do it, and I feel like I'm gonna fuck it up. So it's just, no, just do it. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta cough like hell for the velour miasma. You gotta be scared as shit for that giant ass tree, and you gotta make the weird ass rhino sound as well. You gotta do it right. And I feel like that was the main thing that Sparro left behind, which is just...
You've got so many bangers though, Sam. Like Run the Trods. Run the Trods is like legit like one of my favourite songs. Regularly I listen to it just because it's just awesome.
That'll be where all the plays are coming from on the
I know, it's just me, like on loop. Just like honestly, I have a little selection of Navarri songs I just listen to occasionally because you kind of miss it, right? You miss home. In a sort of a sense, yeah. But you've got some absolute bangers in there, dude.
I have here my original songbook. I know the viewers at home can't see it, but it is a very battered, mud-stained thing. And I've got most of my old stuff written down here with my nice pens and everything like that. And sometimes I think back and just like...
That feels like an incredible artifact. Like it's like a laughing artifact that I would love to get my hands on. I remember once I was talking to you about Run the Trolls, and I was like, oh, you don't happen to have the lyrics for that, 'cause we were going to a player event. I thought, oh, maybe I'll try and sing it. And you were like, oh, hang on, I haven't got it typed up. And you just took some photos of it, like, from your book. And I was like, it was... And it's literally, like, with the crossings out, and there is sort of... It's amazing. It's like, that would be a great thing to scan in and sort of have a look through. Because that must be, like, in itself a little artifact. That's the librarian in me coming out.
I think Jamie said recently he was redoing the Empire Navarre music brief on the wiki, to which he needed physical versions of the songs, and to which I'm like, shit, they're in this book, and if they're not in this book, they're hidden somewhere deep in a hard drive that I can no longer find. But I've been looking through some of the files recently, and they're just like, what the hell was I thinking? There was definitely a progression with that as well. Like from, I think the first song I ever did was Annabelle, which was a Ye Banish Privateers filk, which was actually quite good. The second one was the old favourite, orc named Kazza.
Yeah,
co-written by Smo, who was Kazza at the time. Well, she's still, technically, no longer Kazza anymore, but... And then just... I feel like this book was very much like, if you can keep it in any way, shape or form, it's almost like an item of worth. The orcish items of worth. I did try and get... I remember I'd written down Smash the day that Dato died.
Yeah.
Gate Render Dato, and tried to pass that off as an item of worth. I don't think it passed at the time, but I feel like the book now, in its shagged entirety, is now quite valuable.
Dude, I'm jealous of you being able to hold it. That's how like I want that book.
This is the first version. So this also has out of character songs as well for the Thursdays. So I had got all of the shanties that I couldn't remember, and as I was talking with Marcus many years ago, just anything that he thinks of, write it up. So I've got loads of like all the pages of shag, but I wrote up Wulfric's mum that you might have heard on the Thursday, which I apologise profusely for. He made me write down Mothman to the tune of YMCA. I still don't know why, but it's in there. It's in there.
That's an interesting thing. I mean, you've obviously got Sparrow behind, you know, your kit for Sparrow behind you. You've got your book. You've got these different sort of artifacts and things for Sparrow. I mean,
I do have a little shrine on my shelf over there. I'm looking at it now.
What's it been like coming home and having all of these kind of things? Because they're so, they must be such a part of you. Like putting them away is like, or like.
Up until recently, I didn't really value them as much, as Sparrow was still an ongoing character. But now, you know, coming back last Sunday, or the Sunday prior, and just being like, I can't wear these anymore. These are from a bygone age, you know. It's no longer me. And so I'm planning on just trying to keep and reuse as much as I can, but the rest of it will just be a reminder. It's so difficult to explain, because when Sparrow died, I feel a part of me died as well. And that's why I was fucking driving back to Cornwall, which ended up taking like 6 hours, swerving all over the roads because I was fucking weeping.
Yeah.
It's a huge loss, and I never knew how good it was until it was gone. And I don't know if that was the same with Ifan.
No, I was like, Ifan's great, it's fine. I wasn't hugely attached to the character at the time, but his death hit me really fucking hard. And then you made me cry at Songs and Story Time by telling his story, which is like the first time I've cried at LARP, like not the last. It's but yeah, it's like it
was a fucking banger of a story though, wasn't it?
I
just
think
you being a big ass hero.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's great. I think like I miss so many aspects to being Ifan that I don't do as Gellert. And I do different game. I have different things with it, but like, there's a whole bunch of Gellert that comes out of. I mean, the whole bunch of Ifan that comes out of Gellert occasionally. Like, it's part of me. Like, I'm prone to the odd rash decision now and again, and that inevitably leads to repercussions for my actions. And then so yeah, and I would say that is the Ifan in me, is those reactionary, you know, things, you know.
I'm kind of excited in a sense, because instead you went from one Navarri character to another Navarri character. So in a sense, people had an idea of what your face looked like, but you weren't Ifan, you were Gellert, you know. From Sparrow, I'm going over to the Imperial Orcs, which is a latex face.
Dude, you're gonna disappear. You get like, I have friends who are orcs, and I'm like legit. Like, it takes me I'm getting better, but legit, like, it takes me a while to figure out who's who when everyone's got the orc mask on.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, this is the thing. I felt like I couldn't just come back as another Sparrow lookalike. I called it pulling a Wulfric because, you know, if you die, there's always your long lost brother from Wintermark that you can just pull in.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's legit.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But
everyone does it once.
But I can't do it with Sparrow, because I feel like I just turn straight back into the old self, and I'll just pick up where it left off,
100%.
and that wouldn't be right.
I agree, Sam. And bear in mind, I love what you do for Navarre. Like, I want to keep you as our delicious special treat just for ourselves. But like, I totally respect the decision, and I agree with you. I think if you came back to Navarre, you would become Sparrow too. And I think like when I hear you talking about your relationship with Sparrow, I think like you've done everything you wanted to do with him, and now you're ready for something totally new in a different nation, and you're gonna play a whole different kind of like part of the game. It still might be whole elements of Sparrow in there, but fuck, it's gonna be a big transformation for you.
Yeah. There was, as you say, yeah, I'd done everything. I taught as many people as I could. I had done the battles as much as I could. When it's your time, it was your time.
Yeah.
Ironically, though, it was semi-planned to retire him, but not entirely. The idea was that if you remember in E1, I picked up a new striding member for the first time since the rest of the striding left about 5 years ago. And I was planning for a while. We had plans. We were going to, like, I think there was almost an icy marriage that was going to happen that turned Romeo and Julia. I'm not too sure. We didn't really iron out the details, but we were planning on breaking a few hearts. But that wasn't until like E3, maybe E4. So I had plenty more time, technically, as Sparrow. But I felt with it being spring and the organisation and running for Highbard and all that happened, it just needed to be done, because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't do it.
There's a narrative to it too, right? Like there's certain things about when your characters, like I've become a little bit obsessed by this concept at the moment of like viewing my character's story as a, like trying to step back from it from a little bit and being like, where did my character start? What did I do? How did I progress? And I was just like, there was a certain beauty to the fact is, hey, if I did die just as war was broken out with Jarm, it's how perfect, how poetic that would be, right?
Yeah.
That kind of hasn't necessarily come to pass yet, or I don't know, and I'm not dead, more importantly. But the
not yet.
not yet. You have to wake up early in the morning to catch Gellert Ashbourne off track. Don't come and kill me. But the yeah. I also want to say it's very interesting that you managed to, like, you must have died, because you are very unkillable in a bunch of different situations. And also, I just want to point out your virtues of being very courageous when you led us out towards the Valorn on that skirmish, and then you were very vigilant in spotting how many of the enemy there were, and then very wise of us to turn and run like scared children.
Hey,
honestly,
that
was
it was straight up the right call.
Skirmish.
The best. Everyone still says it's their favourite skirmish they've ever been on. And
really?
The amount of fighting we did was tiny, but like I've never seen
fighting.
We were so scared, and I remember like Callum was running with me, and it's just like he falls over on the ground, and I'm just screaming at him like, "Get up! Get the fuck up!" You know, and he's just, "I'm getting up! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!"
I remember
so good.
There was this Dornish sort of group of warriors or something. They were running in. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go and sort out this forlorn stuff." And at the end, everyone's running like, "Oh!" like, running away. It was so good.
Fucking hell! It. When I think back on that skirmish, honestly, it could not have gone better. But also, it could have got way worse.
Yeah.
I think that was the main inspiration for Hold Our Line
Yeah, we didn't lose anyone.
Yeah, we didn't.
We ran away.
Yeah,
really fast in terror. Like that was, I've
successful.
never. When it was like you know, like herd animals on the savannah when they're getting spooked, and they were just like, and then when the panic kicked in, and everyone everyone man for themselves. No. Run.
No, my favourite thing is the poor guy in the skirmish crew who got dressed up as that big dryad thing, and he probably had to like sweat his way in, lumber all the way down there. Right, he had to lumber all the way through the woods, get guided along because he can't see. Right, he can't see anything. Right, and they're like, "Oh no, bit to the left, mate, bit to the right." You know, to me, to you, and he eventually works his way all the way there. We turn up for 2 seconds, say nah, and then he has to turn around and get changed out.
I'm not
when do I get to fuck shit up? Oh, the players are already fucked off, mate. You might as well just get out. Oh, come on!
That was my big moment. My big moment as Tree Man number 2 is ruined. All thanks to Sam.
And what was great about that was the pep talk afterwards when we run away. We get well out of sight of the enemy, and we haven't gone through the gate yet. And he gives us the best pep talk ever, which was like, "Hey, we ran away. That happened. It's fine. Now, we could go back, and there was like, yeah. And then it was like, but who here thinks that we would win? And everyone was like, looked around, and no one said anything. They're just like, so I think we should go back through the gate. And I was like, yay!
This is the thing. I think you took it quite hard, Sam, at the time.
I did. Honestly, that was the first time I'd been unsupervised with a skirmish, like leading it properly, and it was a fucking disaster. I distinctly remember going back through the gate and just going, guys, I'm really sorry.
No.
And then everyone kind of turned around and went, nah, fuck it, and then just carried on.
Best
walking.
skirmish
Straight
ever.
up, in reality, it was like a group decision. It was a group collective decision where we were just like,
No decisions happened there. We were all that primal beast instinct on, like, just we had to run. We had to fight and flight hit in, and we chose, or collectively, flight was the correct answer. And
that was,
yeah, amazing. I've never been so scared as a grown-up, and giddy and laughing at the same time, like terrified but laughing.
There was that mix of terror in the voice as we're running, like, run! Fuck!
I've never yelled at anyone like I yelled at Simwig that day. Yeah, I mean, do you want maybe to talk about how Sparro actually died? Like, do you want to give us the rundown of what actually happened during the battle?
Sure, absolutely.
And also, what your point of view was like for everything that came afterwards, because Ian spoke briefly about it on the podcast, but I'm really curious about.
I blubbed through it on the blog podcast.
I did hear that, you poor thing. I was listening and going, oh man, he's about to fucking break down, isn't he?
Dude, even talking about you at the beginning about how we were sharing captaincy, like in the very first episode, I was like, Jesus, this is a lot. And then
we're not out there. We're not out the woods yet. You're going to be blubbing by the end of this for sure. Like,
all right.
Okay. Let's hear it. Pal.
So, in the battle, there was nothing really that different. We were fucking shit up as normal. However, when we came across this marshwalker, it was pushing through our lines, and all of the Greenhorn kids, the new ones who had not gone to battle yet, were just backing off and backing off and backing off. Get my sword out, put my bow down, and right, you fucking stand here. Keep this line together. And just to make sure, I go out and start beating the crap out of it from behind. I get paralyzed as I do this, and then immediately touched by this claw bastard thing, which actually kind of hurt. To which a ref comes immediately over to me and says, "You've been poisoned. Go and get this sorted out." At the time, I was just like, well, I have done something big and stupid, but the line held, so I'm just going to launch myself through and really play it up.
Traumatic wounds are the sign that you're playing the game well, okay? Like, it's a little tasty treat from the referee just for you. That means mortal danger. It's Thank you very much, referee.
I want to have like
I keep all of my traumatics.
Keep all my traumatic wounds as like little cards or something. But
I'll get to that later. I will get to that later, okay, right. So I go back through this line. I'm screaming bloody murder, and most people who know me in the battle, I will just complain. I'll have a bit of a whinge and go, he shot my fucking leg off again. And along that lines, but I tried to play it up a bit more. At this point, I wasn't planning on death.
Right.
It should be known now, I was not planning on death. I was getting out of there alive. But it was all worth it to see, instead of, happy-go-lucky Sparro getting hit in the leg again, it was, oh shit, he's actually fucked here. So I get healed up. It should have been fine. I tuck away the poison in my bracer and I carry on. As we get out, I'm talking with one of the other people who we go past, and I just kind of talking normally, and then I see the gates and start going 3, 2, 1. As soon as we get through, tumble through. I'm immediately seen to, and I think somebody sat on my head, if I remember rightly.
That's part of the service at the hospital, I've heard nowadays. They're doing great work down there. Doing really great work down there. Controversial, but great
doing
work.
the virtues work, yes. Doing the virtues work. So I get my venom seen to. I get the poison taken out. I get everything theoretically fixed. Okay? Right. At this point, I'm still not planning on death. And to which I talk to a ref after I get back up and have some water, because I was blasting my ass out from just dehydration.
Yeah.
And he went, that was a pretty good fight. I'm not going to give you anything, but, you know, you should have been dead. Like, straight out. And I kind of go, oh, really? Okay, so how do you got anything on you that could make me dead? You know, just out of curiosity. No, mate, you'll have to go to God for that. Okay, fair enough. And I bump into Stefan, one of the other Navarchers, who's just pottering by. He was going to go and put some arrows into God, and I thought the same thing. You know, I'll go in and put my arrows to God.
Yeah.
And to which we just get talking, you know, of just, you know, he just said I probably should have died for that. And he went, oh, lucky you didn't. And to which then it starts clicking.
Right.
Should I? The option's there. We're about halfway to God at this point, and he's talking to me like, I only just fucking met you. What the fuck are you doing? That's a stupid idea. Come on, let's just go back to camp and sort this out. And then I bump into Rihanna. One of the other main reasons why, who put it very plainly. How did you feel after being healed, like knowing that you were going to be okay? And I was like, okay, I'm okay with it. How did you feel after? Think of that exact same thing, but think of yourself as terminal. How do you feel? My head's flatlining. I'm going, I don't feel bad about this. That was a good way to go. I'd done everything I wanted to do, and now there's an option here for me to go. Should I? And we talk for a little while longer, and I'm slowly walking down to God, and I think she'll remember this for a while, and I just kind of went, ow, fuck it. Let's do this. But let's do it proper. She gives me a big hug. Stefan gives me a big hug, and I say, not a word to anybody.
Yeah, they didn't tell me.
You didn't see me.
Stefan didn't say anything to me. Oh my god.
So I go into God, and I go around the side, and I'm like, I'd like a traumatic, but I want it to be terminal. And he's like, how terminal? And I slam both my hands on the table and go, fuck my shit up, fam. To which he goes, wait here, mate. Have yourself some water. They need to call the head ref in just to type it up. And he sits down and goes, right, you want to die, do you? Okay. And we type out this thing. And I have it with me here, the original. It's a traumatic wound to a marsh walker. You are subject to the venom effect, and you will become terminal. Inside, it says this wound cannot be healed and the patient is terminal. So as soon as everyone opened it, they knew. The description we wrote out over about 20 minutes, because he's just like, would you say it's more of an oozing, or is it just like really thin blood? And we're just, you know, as normal as anything. And as this is happening, I'm seeing other people in God. Because I feel like at this point, it's far too late. He's put so much of his heart into this disease that I'm about to get. I felt like fucking Typhoid Mary. Just really, you know, this is going to be named after me. It's got to be brilliant, you know, so I might as well do it proper. And then they're looking at me in God, and I'm there like, hi, how you doing?
Nothing
They know exactly what's going on because I see one of them just go, no. And I go, yeah. So the actual infection, the thing, is called Sparrow's Fall. And I just thought, oh, fuck yeah, you got that right. The role-playing effects are you feel full of energy, possibly a little inebriated. Over time, you'll gradually feel a little warm. This will progress until you feel hot to the touch. Your wounds will begin to throb, progressing to agony. You will feel a sudden tearing sensation inside of you, and your vision disappears.
Ugh.
Inside the patient's wound, you'll find smaller tears. This is what people were reading. Several living pieces of a marshwalker have managed to seep into the patient's body. These have spread throughout the patient and have caused the patient to bleed profusely and cannot be staunched. There is rampant signs of infection. The more you cut into the patient, the more damage and pieces of Marshwalker you find. You can see their organs failing from the damage before your eyes.
Oh, he fucked you up.
He
really did fuck your
fucked
shit,
me
Joe.
up. And as I say, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right.
Fucking hell.
And by God. It was only at about this point that I realised that I had this. A little piece of jewellery. It's an Abraxas stone. When you are healed, with an Abraxas stone being, you also cure yourself of any venom that you currently have within your body.
Fuck's sake.
And I realised that later on in the story, but I realised that later and I went, oh shit, if I just voided that. But, no.
I don't understand why you were so hard to kill. Jesus.
Yeah.
The worst bit after that was seeing people inside God who would probably have been like, oh, I saw him, doing this, that, and the other. He's probably dead. But having to do nothing.
Yeah.
Knowing, and only you knowing, that you're proper fucked.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I was talking to Halloween immediately after, and he was like, look, we need to get you to... People thought you were dead. What the fuck's going on? I'm like, I'm sorry, I know, I got distracted, this, that, and the other. I was at the hospital, and I had to pretend, and I think that was the hardest thing to do.
You lied, Sam. You lied
I
to
lied.
your friends.
No. Technically, I never lied. Out of character, I lied to everyone, right?
Yeah.
In character,
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah.
And I think that was the main distinction. That was something
Dude,
I'm
joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
It's
I
RP,
know.
buddy. It's
I
RP.
know. It was
and
also,
also,
all
like,
RP.
Dude, you gotta savor it. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta fucking do it right, bud. You can't just fucking fire off early. Do you know what I mean? You gotta wait.
Exactly. And I did wait. My God, did I wait. I remember my last couple of seconds alive was me frantically fanning my jacket. Not only because I was warm already and I was super sunburnt on my shoulders, but I felt like, I joked about it later, that I was just trying to flash everyone, as many people as I could for the last time.
Enjoy it while it lasts, people. You are welcome.
Man, I'd kind
And
of... From my perspective, I kind of knew that you were... You'd been hurt, but I just assumed... you had an injury, you got treated for it, and that was it, right? So it's like... And I think a lot of people were in that boat.
Yeah, that was what pretty much everybody else knew. They had assumed, oh, he'd got hurt, but I saw him at the hospital, or I treated him on the field, and he said he was going to go to the hospital. I like to think that there was no deception behind that, because really there wasn't. But then immediately after that, I went to go in and give thanks to everyone who came to the drumming workshop, everyone who came to Songs and Stories, and I was going to drop immediately after that. But Ian's character, whose name escapes me right now... Not you, Ian, a different Ian.
Yeah.
I was like, I think you're hiding something, to which I have to go, oh, wait. Okay, I've got the decision here. Do I keep milking it or do I just go? And don't know what you're talking. Slam. That hurt like fuck, by the way.
Yeah, you proper face palmed into the ground, by the way.
I did,
with very little fall break.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It's dedication.
And then the rest everybody knows, and I just remember screaming out, I can't see you, Navarre, but I can fucking well hear you. To which they started to sing.
Amazing, dude.
And it was the nicest, honestly. That's the only issue that I saw with that was I had someone holding my right arm, someone holding my right hand, someone holding my left hand, someone holding my right arm, someone frantically doing surgery on my stomach. I had Nem's head here going, please, Sparrow, you're just joking, aren't you? You're just joking. Please, get up, Sparrow. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. I had Gabby weeping over my chest as well. I had Nuala, because I know it was her, had a hand going up my leg really slowly. Like, granted, it was a mistake, but I was just like, yep, that's her. I know. And you can't see anything because I'm on the floor. And then, only then, did it hit me. Sparrow's totally gone now. There's no turning back. He's over. He's finished. He's done. And I'm profusely crying. I can't stop. And I'm looking up at Neme and I'm going, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm looking up at Gabby and I'm going, I'm really sorry. Yeah, And I did a typical Sparrow thing, and I look back on it now like that was the stupid thing to do. But do you remember, I don't suppose you were at Songs and Stories the night before, on the Saturday?
I was not actually.
Rusty
so I
Compass
really
did a
missed it.
performance where they were singing about their ugly daughter. And one of the responses was, "She looks like a shoe." And I don't know why, but that just tickled me and Gabby and a few others in such a way that was like, what the fuck? What do you say to that? So I look up at Gabby as I'm dying, trying not to fucking blub everywhere, going, "You look like a shoe." And she's like, "Shut the fuck up and try to have emotions here."
Sparrow's famous last words.
You Nah, my famous
whole
last
thing,
words were "see on the other side, sausage." I think it was.
Yeah.
Which that sounds about right, doesn't it? Let's face it.
I was running around doing all of my bullshit diplomacy stuff, and I came back to like people in tatters. Like Ian had been visibly crying. Bungle looked fucking really upset. It was just like, what the fuck happened? And like, he goes to me, "Sparrow died," and me as Gellert just goes, "Well, he led a really virtuous life," and then kind of got on with the rest of my day.
Yeah, this guy is like unshaken. It's like,
Wow.
I had
Bloody
to,
hell,
hey,
mate.
I had was to
How
fucking.
did you put your trousers on that day?
I
Like, with
had
the big
was-
old balls of
dude,
yours.
I was trying to stop a war. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't have time to grieve. You know what I mean? Like
look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's too big. He's too big for grief. He's too big for grief.
I'll have a drink.
Oh,
I'll have a
fuck,
drink
that's
later
brilliant.
on Sam's behalf, but Sparrow's behalf. But right
Until
now,
then, I got shit to do.
I got shit to do. Like I'm really upset. Hey, I'm sorry that like hand on shoulder to Talus. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry you've clearly been crying,
Mate.
but I don't have the time or the energy right now to deal with any of this. So I got to go.
That is very funny. That is very funny. I'll
I
give you
remember
that.
you
That's-
carrying you back to your camp, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be the second of the barges now.
Mate, I was like, as I said before, mate, it's like joint custody, and yeah, it's yours now. Yours and
Crazy.
One more to go,
Yeah,
Ian.
you
One
and
more to
Kaylee,
go.
yeah. That's all you need to do.
buddy. One more to go. His
I've got to
plans
slowly
all
convince
coming
you all
together.
to be reckless, and you say I can just hide to the back, and all you guys can kill yourselves. And
Now-
I will
now what we
assume
don't-
leadership.
Now, what we don't see right now is Talus watching the big beastie fighting Sparrow and like choosing to not help Sparrow in that moment. Do you know what I mean?
No, none of that.
As he disappears back into the woods again, you know.
You know what I was like? I was always the soul fighter. And
Yeah.
you were talking about that yesterday, earlier in your podcast, actually. And it was just, you were absolutely right. I was the guy who just went off by himself. I didn't really like the buddy system.
Yeah.
I still don't really like it. But
No,
it was just
and I
because
think-
of, it shouldn't be blamed as well. No way,
No,
shape,
I'm
or form.
all about it. Like the whole point was that it's just a community, right? It's just an a shared experience. It's like it doesn't.
but I
like, I
think-
don't actually
hey.
even care how efficient it is.
Hey, dude, this is LARP. Fuck being like, hey, you must do this or not do that.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, how many times... Do you remember one of the first skirmishes we ever went on, Ian? Was like
Yeah.
against a Valorn in the woods. And we're terrified and fighting like in a shattered line formation. And then this guy walks in the back of their lines, just killing them, yelling at us, "What are you doing? Get into them and fight them," type thing. And we're just like, how is this guy... Like, I'm struggling
Yeah.
to survive...
Yeah.
one-on-one with my Valorn, and this guy's wandering around their backfield just slaughtering them. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, but dude, like, that's awesome. Always be that guy. If you can be that guy or girl, be that guy or girl, right? Like, fucking
think-
own it.
Like you really played Sparrow. Like you played the friggin' wheels off him. You know what I mean? Like you always were pushing. Like in battles, you'd be kind of going forward and fighting these kind of very kind of aggressive fights that aren't maybe even tactically sound or anything like that, but it doesn't matter, right? It's a very Sparrow type fighting, and it was like in all the things I think you just really embodied the spirit of the character so much.
I think I remember going for like General of the Black Scar at one point as well.
Well, glad you didn't mix in with those guys. They're terrible people.
No, I love Black Scar, but yeah.
It was good.
Sparrow for me was like, a quintessential Navarre, right? Like,
Yeah.
he could fight on the battlefield. He empowered those Navarri around him to do like reckless acts of bravery and come out the other side surviving. Like, it wasn't just like he sacrificed. He was always rolling those numbers and making the right decisions. Just empowering those around him through his workshops, through the battle work that he did, through the songs that he sung, through the just general like positivity he brought to adversity will stay with me forever. And it's like, dude, like, thank you so much, basically.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam.
you me, and I know that I'm speaking for many people here, are just extremely grateful for everything that you've done for all of us over that time. Sparro will be missed, bud.
Who says it's over?
Yeah.
That orc that you can see in the corner there, he's coming.
Oh, I don't like orcs.
Oh, you know.
No, I'm joking. Gellert does like
Gellert
does like orcs. I just wanted to ruin the moment.
You might enjoy the fuck out of this orc, because my god, have we got plans.
I am genuinely really interested to see what you come up with next, because I think the thing is, you were talking about it before, but like, and I think a lot of us do this to a certain extent. You play like a version of yourself with a couple of dials turned up to 11 or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, you have been playing like this huge character, this huge kind of like 11 version of yourself to a certain extent. Now you get the opportunity to really kick into something else and just really, all those thoughts you must have had boiling away in the background of your mind of different character concepts. I'm really interested to see which one you've actually sort of lassoed into your being and are going to throw at us.
I'll be honest, there wasn't that many. I was planning on being Sparro for as long as I possibly could, in the same, excuse me, in the same way that Idwin was. You know, I wanted to be this person who was always there, no matter what. What the fuck's going on with my voice? Sorry.
That's all right.
Damn emotions, get out of there! God damn it!
None of those filthy emotions, Sam.
Yeah.
Get
I know,
not
right?
on our
They're
podcast.
bastards.
Sam,
So
bury that shit deep down where it can't hurt you anymore.
I only very, very recently made the orcish character on the website. Up until then, it was just the one. And I'm basing this character off of something entirely different, almost a polar opposite, but not quite. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, so it might just be it's Sparro in an orc mask. It might just be this gruff bastard who will not want to talk to anyone, or I don't know. This is the cool thing.
Dude, it's so hard. I have this with D&D characters. I have it with LARP characters. It's when the rubber meets the road, right? That's the only time that you really learn these characters. I can kind of come up with a whole bunch of stuff. I like coming up with a few rules of like things that I might react to and kind of put myself as boundaries so I don't go too much Dave in it, especially playing bad guys. I struggle.
I think like, LARP has something that like tabletop role playing doesn't have, which is the reality of like you have to exist as the character, right? So there is the aspect of like your character will laugh at some point, like because you will laugh at some point, right? You will. You know, you are going to have to eat around people. You're going to have to socialize around people. So that instantly means that some of the character concepts naturally migrate away from some of the filmic kind of visions that you might have.
Unless you're trying to do character work, as in like you're trying to change your voice, your posture, and a bunch of other stuff, which it can be beneficial or not. But I think it's like really what character is about decision making. It's a lot about like what decision would be different that Sparro would make compared to this new character, and that's kind of how I that's how I kind of think about when I'm prepping for a character, is how I kind of think about it, you know, to try and, because especially when you want to try and play something different, that's hard. It's really hard because you always take you with you, right? But like I feel like you're gonna be able to experiment. There'll be enough Sparro in an orc mask that would be fine. Like you're gonna love playing that character again. Like that's nothing wrong with that. But I think just the sheer physical presence of an orc mask and the different orc culture, I think we're gonna get a whole different flavor of that character if you do choose to play that. So I'm very curious.
I've already said like if I still am not liking the orc, I may re-roll a Navarri. because there is an awful lot there. As I say, when it's gone, you miss it more. There's going to be an awful lot there that I'll miss. But I'll see how it goes. You may not have heard the last of any of my songs. Hopefully it will live on with other people. If not, it will live on with myself and other shenanigans, because there's still like 4 or 5 songs that I never got to perform.
Amazing. Oh, dude, it's so exciting. I'm genuinely, like, that's the thing. I'm really sad to lose Sparrow, but I'm actually really excited for Sam. You know what I mean?
I'm excited for Sam. I'm also like when it was like when I saw you after timeout and we're just heading back, like the first thing that Sam said to me after I died was, "You silly sausage," and I said immediately when I saw him, "You silly sausage," and he was just like, "Don't you fucking say that to me." And it was good.
That was very good.
Yeah, it's like I immediately I knew that it was a decision that you had made. Like it was a decision that you had to make rather than it was just kind of forced upon you, and you wanted to continue to play Sparrow for a decade more and all that stuff. As soon as I started speaking to you, I was just like, no, this is great. This is Sam growth, right? Like the next chapter on your role playing at Empire Road is going to happen. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I think that would be something I would have to say to other people. Like, if you feel like it's time, don't be afraid to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Because even if that ain't perfect, you can retire. You can go and annoy the God team with the 20 minutes worth of RP, or if you want to rip people's hearts out like I fucking did.
It's something to think about, man. It really is.
I need to explore my bubble blowing addiction first, and then we can get into
bubble blowing addiction.
Get rid of the bow. Get rid of the fancy outfit. No more gambling and bubble. Just straight edge character, Ian. No.
I'd like to think that you're like a businessman before, with his nice fine suit, and then Sparrow's death will make him fly off the reins, and he'll come in covered in muck, and it's just like ripped and torn and really dirty.
He's not allowed the money anymore.
Is he not?
No, there's been decisions being made within the striding. We're still comfortable him being our political leader, but at the same time, he's not allowed to have. He's our pocket money, but he knows how to get funds. Do you know what I mean? Like oh no, what am I going to do with no money? Oh, I'm just going to sell all the herbs and all of our worldly possessions, and then that's my gambling money.
I make all our worldly possessions, you son of a bitch.
That does not sound very prosperous of you. Or loyal.
Well, yeah, well, look, I'm
heresy.
Flawed character design is part of what it's all about.
Talis wouldn't stand a chance under a decent Inquisition thing. If you're looking for witnesses, just let me know, okay? I'll be your starring slam dunk witness.
Look.
I'll help you prep the case. Do you know what I mean?
Christ.
Standing tall against the man and being like, listen, I've got a Navarri egregore here, and they're very upset. Do you know what I mean?
Man, but no, dude, it's gonna be so interesting going into E3 and seeing how it all pans out, and like the great thing about when there's a hole left as well is that there's all this new game and these stuff that can fill it, and you've made a lot of that. You've been a part of all of that stuff that's going to come in to sort of bring. I mean, there's so much like with songs and stories. Like so many people have come to the fore. You've really left like a massive mark on the game. It's actually impossible to really consider just the scope of the ripples you've left in the game.
Well, this is what I'm also going to be looking forward to for E3. I want to see. I know it sounds mighty vain, but I do want to see how people who weren't at E2 react. Yeah. How songs and stories. I'm going to be at songs and stories, but obviously no one's going to fucking recognize me. Yeah. So I want to see the songs and stories. I want to see E3 without Sparrow, which is weird. Like they say the deaths are like seeing your own funeral and how it's going to be like. So I better die in a really fucking spectacular way. This one's got a lot to live up to, But I'd also want to see the aftermath of that and see how everyone is going to deal with it, because if they all start fucking crying again, there's just going to be some random orc that nobody owes blowing a tissue really loudly, just making a right old ruckus like.
Dude,
But I've always said that as soon as I'm ready, I will come back to Navarre. I will stand in the centre of the Songs and Stories circle, and I'll say, that Sparro Oakenart, he was a bit of a cunt, wasn't he? And if I don't see knives out the wazoo aimed at my neck, there's something wrong.
Well, that's not
I haven't won.
You're not aware of the Gellert Ashbourne smear campaign that I'm going to be running on you to dispatch your name. No, I was actually thinking like, oh man, I should totally call dibs and do Sparrow's death story at Songs and Stories, but
dude,
I don't know whether I have the
on that.
I don't know whether I have the chops for that. Yeah, I feel like that's a heavy responsibility, and I want to step aside for another storyteller for that one. Like,
even writing the
also,
letter.
I'd probably get told off for my telling that it probably wouldn't be as heart wrenching as other versions of the story. You know, like you got to have a.
Dear.
You got to keep.
Well, there's only so many ways you can tell the same story, surely.
But there's so many stories from your past, like playing Sparrow, that you're like it's impossible to really.
Dude, I should just, or Ian, if you want to do it, like the story of the skirmish that we ran away from. That would go down well, I think.
That would be a decent story. I was also thinking if someone could retell the Trifoot origin story as well, that would be fucking hilarious, because I do have that written down in the book.
Man, there's so many good things. There's so many good experiences.
Let's talk.
I mean, like, to be honest,
if any other storytellers are up for this, by the way, just fire on over to Sam.
Yeah. Anybody who wants to do any of my performances or songs or whatever, shout at me, and I will happily listen to what you have to say.
Even sitting down and writing the letter to Kaylee about your death, like I got like super emotional just writing a letter from one character to another character, being like, this character that we know, and this is the strange thing with love, right? Like, so it's like this character we know is dead, and it's like, I mean, Sam's fine, right? Sam's totally fine, but it was super emotional sitting down and writing it, and like saying like, how would Tallis talk about Sparrow dying under like the time when he was the captain in the situation? It was a lot to sit down and write. It's just
I like to think that you won't try and pin it on Tallis, because everybody else, pin it on yourself, fill your boots. Probably somebody else will pin it on you anyway before you can pin it on yourself. Sparrow weren't your fault.
Yeah. Oh no, I know what's.
Well, who said it was? Are there rumours going around that Tallis was responsible for it?
Oh, look at this guy ready to jump on the bandwagon.
What? No,
proper scar and.
Hey, if there's smoke, there's fire, right? Like you've been telling all these stories about that. What someone's been spreading rumours about how Tallis was responsible for Sparrow's death.
We're just Scar and Mufasa. Yeah. The entire fucking thing, and he long live the king, my ass.
Oh, he's so good.
Oh man.
Oh, sweet merciful Christ! That would be
Buffalo. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing.
Man.
Oh Jesus!
But genuinely, mate, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I just cannot wait to see what you come out firing from the gates with next time. It's
I guarantee
be a lot of fun.
You will hear me.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I will do something very, very quickly. It will require me taking my headphones off, but I want to shake the orc.
Sam, that's
Shake
future Dave's editing problems, so fuck that guy. Like,
very well. Okay, so
the
orc himself is going to be quite loud.
Oh, that's amazing. You can hear him coming.
Whether or not you heard that, I mean, I can see it on the waves over there.
Yeah.
You will hear this orc.
That.
In fact, his entire head's fallen off.
Oh
dear. He's got a bit.
It's a speedy journey back to Navarre.
Being a jangly character is a decision, and I've realised that I'm reaching critical mass on how much stuff I have around my neck that jingles. I think,
Dave, that means you've only just begun.
Nothing. Yeah, you've got to up your fucking game, mate.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's going to be brilliant.
You're a moving musical instrument.
Yeah.
People can play you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, Dude, it's
No,
fucking incredible.
don't take that seriously. That isn't like something that you should actually plan out to find very large people to carry you and play you like an actual instrument.
Just shake you occasionally.
No. That is going to happen now. I have people on it.
Just put him on a board and just shake him.
Yeah,
Well, I suppose if there's different bits of you, right, that you can like hit or not hit. I mean, obviously not hit, but you know.
Why so violent, Dave?
Yeah, come on, man. Fucking hell. What's all this about?
I'm not a musician. I don't know how it works. You hit the notes, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Man.
Oh dear.
Well, let's draw things to a close, shall we? Sam, is there anything that you want to say before we close out?
I was going to ask if you wanted me to play something for the last time as Sparrow.
Oh, yes. It'd be an honour, dude.
Oh man. Fair enough. I didn't expect you to pick up on that, but I will.
Because what, you mean we're not going to pick up on the last opportunity to hear Sparrow sing? I mean, of course.
As he grabs the guitar that was just next to him.
Yeah, conveniently.
Conveniently, oh, I had no idea I had to play. He picks up guitar. That's perfect.
This isn't a vanity thing, guys, but you know.
I felt like the last song I properly sung was The Parting Glass, which I think was probably my best singing performance ever, and I probably won't top it, but also I just really like playing this song, so I thought, it'd be a nice way to end it out if you wanted.
Oh,
it's too late now, I've already got the oh, sick. Oh god.
Thank you very much to our patrons and for everyone listening. Thank you.
You terrible shill. I'm messing
It's not shilling. Like, these people are really nice in helping us out.
Amazing.
Stop. I mean, come on. Like, we gotta.
And this is the kind of content you get for exclusive links to Sparrow's OnlyFans. Please just follow the link in the bottom of the. No, I tried. I'm sorry. I tried hard there.
We'll attach it to like an image that goes nowhere.
Well, for those who got my smut, actually, that's probably worth like twice as much.
Is there Sparrow smut?
Oh, dude, have you not seen that? Oh, man. Dude.
Mate, hang on. I've got it.
You're in the wrong circles completely, Dave.
I am. I don't get enough smut in my life at all.
I sold some smut to a couple of people, but basically it's my chili recipe on one side. And it's my actual chili recipe.
Beautiful looking chili recipe, yeah.
But then it's also
wow, right?
Very sexy naked body.
But if you can get your hands on a vintage Sparrow,
there are plenty in the fields.
You could grate cheese on those fucking. You know what I mean? Like, god damn.
Yeah, the Navarri are still selling them.
All right,
sing so I just copies.
Okay, sing so I can just lie back and close my eyes and think about that image for the rest of this episode.
Oh god. Ironically, the last time I played this was for a funeral.
Thanks for ruining the fucking mood, Sam. Jesus.
I'm dead. Deal with it.
I love
it. I bid farewell to the port and the land as I travel away from Madruga's red sands to search for my long ago forgotten friends, to search for the place I hear all sailors end, as the souls of the dead fill the space of my mind. I'll search without sleeping till peace I can find. I fear not the weather, I fear not the sea. I remember the fallen, do they think of me when my bones in the ocean forever will be? Plot a course through the night to a place I once knew, to a place where my hope died along with my crew. So I swallow my grief and face life's final test, to find promise of peace and the solace of rest, as the souls of the dead fill the space of my ears, their laughter like children, their beckoning cheers. My heart longs to join them, sing songs of the sea. I remember the fallen, do they think of me when their bones in the ocean forever will be? when at last before my ghostly shipmates I stand, I shed a small tear for my home upon land. Though their eye speaks of depths filled with struggle and strife, their smiles below say I don't owe them my life. As the souls of the dead fill the space of my eyes, and my boat listed over and tried to capsize, I'm this far from drowning, this far from the sea. I remember the living. Do they think of me when my bones in the ocean forever will be? Now that I'm staring down at the darkest abyss, I'm not sure what I want, but I don't think it's this. As my comrades call to stand fast and forge on, I make sail for the dawn till the darkness has gone. As the souls of the dead live forever in my mind, as I live all the years that they left me behind, I'll stay on the shore but still gaze out to sea. I remember the fallen and they think of me, for our souls in the ocean together will be. I remember the fallen and they think of me, for our souls in the ocean together will be.
Love you, buddy.